Let's welcome my first evidence, Pastor Victor. Please, where are you? Former where? Give him a mic. This is a young man that died in that motor accident. He is from Akwa Ibom State. That's why I was looking for evidence from different parts. There's even a case that was raised from Abuja hospital, in the hospital after being in mortuary for about, is it 3 days or 4 days? I wanted to also bring in, just so that for people who don't have ear. Go on the stage. This is not how he was looking when we collected the evidence. He has now added some weight. Please put up that picture. Let everybody see it. Put it up. This is the vehicle. And that young man was sitting up and he died. And they carried them to hospital and all of those things. I like when you are dead and you are dead. If you're telling me about the other side, I will listen. Now, this is Friday. So later in the night, I called him back after we had finished the burial. He was telling me about this accident. The reason he was calling me is to pray and raise the boy from the dead. I said, this pastor self. I encourage him. So that is the whole Friday. This burial was in the morning. This accident, the whole Friday went. But the women, the people in the church refused to bury the guy. They have taken them to hospital, but they refused. So they prayed the whole Friday. He didn't wake up. They prayed the whole Saturday. He didn't wake up. Many people did not go home to take their bath. Then Sunday service came. They prayed and they took the same clothes, stayed there praying, followed the service. 2 services ended. Other people went home. These people stayed there, prayed till Sunday evening. He didn't come back. So I took the phone to tell him, just bury the guy. You have tried. Something just held me back. I left him. 1 a.m. in the night. That is not early hours on Monday. The guy woke up. Yeah. He calls me in the morning that he has woken up. I called our media team. I told them, fly to Owerri immediately. Go and record, find out what he saw from the other side. He's been dead for 3 days. And they went. He wasn't talking. They waited till he was able to say. They started, and people were wondering, why are you people disturbing this? I gave them instruction, collect the information. I want video evidence. I want printed evidence. I want whatever. And they recorded. I told you, the way my mind works. If you are trained in science, you like evidence. I don't like stories. To my shock, he survived. Because Jesus reappeared a second time. And this time he came with angels. They came and did things, brought surgeons. They came and did cutting, remove bones, fix bones, put whatever. When they finished, and there were people there when this thing was happening, and his body was fine. Good evening, church. Yeah, I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Then you go ahead and look at how he used to look. Everyone say 2012. Thank you, sir, for being here. Where were you going before that accident happened? Tell us that part.
Hello. I think it is very important. I say it before the time that there are people who would dismiss this testimony and will call it badedash, call it nonsense. Those who are of the opinion of the people that believe that whatever you do after getting born again doesn't count. That once you sleep, it is overwritten. The mercies of the Lord overrides them. Even when you don't repent, you have not repented from those things. Well, I want you to listen to this guy's testimonies. Now, according to Dr. David Ubweli, this is documented and with evidence, and people can actually go and find out if the places they mentioned in this video are real and correct. The video, it will come in 2 parts. This part 1, that of the brother Victor, who died in a motor accident and came back to life. No pastor prayed for him. Brethren in the church refused to bury him. And on the 3rd day, he came back to life. So the testimony, the stories of what he saw when he died. Now, I also will need to tell you that some of the things he may say may not make sense to you, reasoning it with the human sense. But I'd rather err on the part of caution than to carelessly say it is not true and say it doesn't matter. And then eventually get over there and discover that everything mattered. I'll leave you to watch the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so before. Welcome to the End Time Truth Television. God bless you.
Lost that part.
I was traveling to Akwa Ibom State.
From where?
From Owerri. I'm based in Owerri. So my pastor has approved my traveling. And as I got to a junction where we enter Moto to Aba, because it's about 2 drops, I entered the vehicle that will be taking me down to Aba. When we got to Aba at the main park, which a lot of us will know, I entered the bus that you people saw the picture and sat at the front seat of the vehicle, waiting for the bus to get filled. But I keep hearing a voice telling me, stand up, go to the last row and sit down. I refused because I know how to drive. I love sitting at the front seat of vehicles just to see what the driver is doing. The voice keep persuading. I refused. I would look around. I wouldn't see anybody. It wasn't spiritual. It was loud. And the next thing, I felt the hand of somebody on my right hand arm draw me out of the bus. And I fell down with my back. And there was this fair lady seated by my left side. So when I stood up from the ground, people started laughing at the fact that I'm on highness and all that. But I turned around.
You were on drugs or alcohol?
Yes, sir. And I turned around and looked at the lady that was seated by my left-hand side. The next thing that dropped in my mind, she has a spiritual husband. And the spiritual husband doesn't want me to sit close to her.
Okay, you thought it was spiritual husband?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I never knew that God was just trying to preserve this body from more damage than it was. So I carried my bag, went to the last row that the voice told me to sit, the driver's line, and sat down. Immediately I sat there. There was no voice again. There was complete peace. And the journey, after some time, the bus got filled. We started our journey very well, heading to Akwa Ibom State.
But before we go further, please, I'd like you to listen to the plea of this young mother who is about to lose her son to sickness. And she's appealing for help.
Hello everyone. Please, this is a call for appeal. This is a call for appeal. Please help me save my son, my 7-year-old son, who is a sickle cell warrior. Please help me save him. We'll be managing this sickness now for 7 years. But just on May 11, he had crisis. And we took him to the hospital. He took every treatment he needed to take. And after that, hoping he was okay, just after 2 weeks of taking that treatment, he started crying again for pain. Before I could know it, my son started convulsing. I rushed him to the hospital. They managed to stabilize the whole thing. We came back home. Just a day after coming back home again, he started complaining of pain all over his body, crying of his chest, his leg. Please, I discovered a place where they handle their situation herbally at Charity Road, Ukoba there. That is where it is. And the man said, we need 1.2 million naira before he can handle his case. Please, others are in school. My son has just been at home for almost a month now. Please, you people should help me. Please help me. I'm calling on you to help me, please. I don't want to lose my son. Please help me. Help me. As you help me, God will bless you, please. Please, I am begging you so that my son can be on his feet again. He has not been sleeping for weeks. He has not been having enough sleep. Always crying of pain. Please. And when I told the doctor that what he was complaining of, he said he's having shock on his leg. And whenever that thing comes upon him, his whole body will be in shock. And the doctor was saying that it's a sign of stroke. Please help me so that it will not get out of hand. I am begging you. Thank you. May God bless everyone that will help me to save the life of my son. Please.
As many as the Lord will touch, please, whatever you can use to save the boy's life. I chose to blur the boy's face because it is not a testimony. If it was a testimony, I would have left his face uncovered. You see him, he's on the hospital bed, sick bed. And this boy has gone through a lot. So please, if you can help. They have gone to so many places, and somebody, the mother found a place where the problem the boy is suffering with, sickle cell, as a center. And according to many people who have been to the place, they attested to the fact that they are doing well and they are really, really helping children. Please help, and God will bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The account you will use is there on the screen. And if you want to get in touch with me, there is a bar, under the video. I mean, at the bottom of the frame, you will see our details, the phone numbers, and our social media handles, where you can send us messages. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
And most of us that travel with Hummer Bus, we know how they drive. The guy was on a very top speed. People were complaining. Me, I did not complain. All I wanted to do is get home early. So I fixed my earpiece and started playing game with my phone.
You were playing game with the phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
People were busy shouting at him. Oh, me, I did not say a word. So even the person that sat by my side, I said, you people should just leave the guy. Maybe we get home early. Because it was getting late. When we got to a place called Odorikot, at a crossroad, with that speed the guy was, a trailer that do carry cement, but had finished uploading, wheeled from the right side into the road, and our driver saw it with shock, tried to hold the brake of the bus, only to realize automatic brake failure. The brake wasn't working again. So somehow he was able to dodge to the other side of the road, only for us to encounter an oncoming truck again, filled with cement, on a top speed descending towards us. And you cannot go to the left-hand side again because there is a deep pit that if he falls in, nothing will come out there. So it was a situation whereby whatever you believe, you call on that person that moment. Some people call on Jesus, other people call the name of their parent, but me, a pastor, I couldn't even open my mouth to call on God. I was just looking at the whole incident. I don't know whether to call it shock, but the next thing is that I heard the sound, boom, and that was it. The next thing is, I found myself standing outside the bus. How I came out of the bus, I don't know. Who brought me out of the bus, I can't tell. I was worshiping God, thanking God for saving my life from a fatal accident like this. Because I look at it, the bus was under this truck, this trailer, and the trailer climbed it and crushed it down. That is when I knew why the voice told me to stand up and go to the last row and sit down. Because the driver and the two passengers in front, they couldn't remove their head or any part. Everything crushed them, that their brain popped out and was scattered like meat everywhere. They were using shovel and other iron to remove human parts, stock it up in a sack bag. So how do those people even be presented to the family to tell them your loved one is dead? The greatest blessing is the blessing of life, that when you go out there and come back, you give God praise. You don't know what God has done for you, because it's not by our carefulness.
Okay, you were outside thanking God for saving you.
Yes, sir.
What happened?
As I was thanking God, worshiping God, suddenly people that were traveling in the bus with me were at the crossroad, crying and weeping bitterly.
Now, he was on one side of the road. He saw other people that were inside the bus on the other side of the road crying. Yes.
So I said to myself, okay, let me go and talk to them and encourage them. So I crossed the road down to where they were. I started talking to them. I said, you people should not cry. What you should do is to join me to thank God for saving our lives from a fatal accident. If we were dead, he wouldn't be here crying. But instead of them to listen, it was as if what I said did not make sense. And at this point, it was still getting dark. And I will explain why nothing changed at that moment. So I just said to myself, okay, all of you know where you came from. When you finish crying, you will pack your things and go home. Me, I'm going home. It's getting late. As I was crossing the road back to the accident scene where I would get my bag, a Camry car passed through me. I only felt it like air, but did not knock me down, not even a scratch. And the next thing I said, I had an accident. I did not have any injury. And now a car just passed through me. I only felt it like air. Nothing happened to me. That means the scripture that says, I shall pass through the fire. The fire shall not burn me, has just been a reality in my life. I never knew.
Everybody calm down. You need to hear gist. I'm sure you are learning about the inward man, the spirit man, and the outward man. Okay, continue, sir.
I never knew that something has happened to my body. So when I crossed the road, a lot of people feel the accident scene and wanted to see how to pull the bus out from that truck so that they can get people out. But then I did not know. So as a young man, I said, let me go and help them. When I went to the place and stood, stretched out my hand to touch the bus, my hand was going through the metal body of the bus, but couldn't touch it. And the painful part is where I was standing, another person came and stood the same place. I was the one feeling uncomfortable, as if they brought two magnets together. It was going front and back, but couldn't stand still. I had to walk away. And I was trying to comprehend what has happened. I touched my pocket. I couldn't find my phone. I couldn't find my wallet. So I needed to look for these things. So I turned around to where I sat down. Immediately I put in my head. At this point, they put up the bonnet of that bus because it was crushed down. I saw somebody that looks like me. The same pattern of hair, the same clothes I'm wearing, the guy is wearing it. My bag that I'm looking for is on top of the guy's lap. The only difference, I wasn't wearing shoe, only clothes. But that guy is wearing my shoe. My earpiece is the one with it. The only difference is that that guy is in pool of blood. Blood was coming out of the nose, the mouth, the ear, and the hand was twisted, broken. The same people I crossed the road to talk to at the other side are still the same people inside the bus. So I can't remember having a twin brother on earth. How come somebody's looking like me? Does it mean I'm dead? But to cut it short, I finally realized that I'm dead. So me was standing looking at me that is lifeless. Looking for how to help me that is lifeless to come back for us to join together. But there was that separation that I couldn't help. As we were there crying, I now understood why they were crying before me. They already realized that we've crossed over. And immediately I knew that I'm dead. Everything changed. There was nothing like night. There was nothing like day. There was nothing like sun. There was nothing like moon. Everything was just like that. And I joined them to cry even more than they were doing. It was as if we are competing who is going to cry the most. But then what we needed was God's intervention. At that point, I said to myself, we are only two in the family. And I'm the eldest. How are my parents going to survive it? They can't take this news.
And he was traveling to go and see his parents.
I said, God, I can't die. I am too young to die. But brethren, nobody's too young to die. Nobody's too old to die. Everybody's qualified to die. But are you dead in Christ? So suddenly, when that thing was happening, I had a siren blowing. And I looked. It was an ambulance. When they got to the accident scene, the first person they brought out of the bus was my body. They dragged me out. That even the broken glass was cutting some part. And I was telling the person dragging me to be careful. The person wasn't hearing me. He wasn't seeing me. He never noticed me. They led me in the ambulance. I look at the address of the hospital. It did not take me a second. In less than I don't know how to calculate that speed. I was in the hospital waiting. Now from where the accident took place down to the hospital is 45 minutes drive. I was now in the hospital waiting for them to arrive with my body. When they arrived, they brought me out, led me on a roller, were pushing me, and me was following me, looking at me that is lifeless, looking for help. They pushed me into the emergency ward. People were everywhere, but nobody saw me. They were seeing that one lying there. So immediately I started begging the nurses, whatever you can do, I don't want to die. They were not hearing me. They were not seeing me. Immediately the doctor came to check. The next thing is that they started sharpening something and putting it on my chest 3 times. It wasn't working. And he said, he's dead. See how you can get across and get into the mortuary. I shouted at him, but he wasn't hearing me. I rushed to hold the doctor because he was walking away from my own bed. But immediately I made that move. I was in front of him. He was behind me. I turned around to hold him on his shirt. He walked past my body and I turned around. I couldn't help. I started saying, what is this? I screamed in that hospital, shouted, but all these people were not seeing me. As I was screaming and shouting, an elderly man walked up to me and said, why are you disturbing the peace of this environment? I said, can you hear me? He said, yes. Can you see me? He said, yes. I said, then why is everybody making me feel as if I'm dead? He said, the reason I can see you is because I'm dead. You are dead. Come, let's follow your body. Let's know where they are taking you to, where it is. I now understood that over there, nobody is interested in what you feel. Because once you cross over, it's all about you and your maker. All these, I want to die. Death is the most loneliest and painful thing you can ever think, except you die in Christ. So when we got to the place, they brought me down from the roller in the mortuary, kept me, tore off my clothes where I was lying down, used a pieces to cover me because they were still keeping me outside. And the mortuary had 2 sections. And the man said, okay, this is where they are keeping you to. So let's move. I followed him. We went. There was a bench in that hospital where we sat down. And as we sat down, we were discussing. He was telling me some things, how long he has been in the mortuary, what happened that he has not been buried, that he has not rested yet. A lot of things that wasn't really making sense at that point. I told him, okay, let me go home and see if I can inform my people. He was now sending me a message to his own people. I said, but you said I'm dead. He said, this is how we do here. So that if you are lucky to wake up again, you can go and deliver the message for me. So I left him. Or while we were still talking, some people that came to visit their own patient came and just saw an empty bench, not knowing that 2 ghosts are sitting there. They just sat on top of us. We were now the one that stood up for them. When we stood up, I left the hospital down to the house. So I got to the house, walked through the gate, walked through the iron door of the house. Nothing could shield me anymore. My dad was eating a goosey soup. I can still remember very well. Wearing a white singlet, a sky blue short knicker at the dining table. So I greeted him, Daddy, good evening, sir. Because when I left, it was evening. My dad did not hear me, did not see me, never knew that I'm around, but he was expecting me. I greeted him again. He did not say a word. So I got angry. I wanted to put my hand in the soup, push something, create a scene just to get his attention. But I couldn't. And my mom just finished serving my dad food, came out of the kitchen. Immediately she came out, I saw her and I said, Mommy. I raised my hand to hug my mom. My mom walked into my body. The next thing she screamed, Jesus. So my dad,
Many a time, women are more sensitive spiritually than men. It's a fact. It's a fact. Go ahead.
So suddenly, my dad asked him, what is it? She said she doesn't know. At this point, my mom felt cold. She started shivering. Goosebumps everywhere. My dad said, but what is the problem? The next thing my mom told him is, call your son. And he said, but it's not been long we spoke to him. Allow the young man before we call and run down the battery. My mom said, just call him. He said, we'll call, but allow him first. Let me be done with eating. That is how my mom felt sick at that moment. So when I couldn't get the attention, I left them back to the hospital. At that point, they've taken me into the mortuary. Dead body standing, casket kept there, me on the floor. I left the mortuary back to the accident scene. Those people were still there, and I joined them to cry. We were crying and being broken. I said, God, I can't die. I'm too young to die. I want to wake up. While we were still crying and shouting, the ground started vibrating and tore in a triangular form into 3 places. I was standing alone here, 3 people at my right hand side, and my left hand side was 14 people. It was an 18-seater bus. And nobody can cross. There was just this force that cannot allow you to cross or by any means. So I screamed, earthquake, rapture. Is this how rapture wanted to take place? Where am I going to spend my eternity? So I know that when we go to heaven, we'll be going up. So I started jumping up. When I jump up, I will come down. I jump up, I will come down. So the reality of hell was before me. Brethren, you might not know the Bible now, but when you cross over, you know from Genesis to Revelation. And your judgment will be for you. You don't need anybody to explain what will happen. You already know where you are going. So at this point, I was crying, shouting. Suddenly, it was as if everywhere changed. The sounds of thunder and all that. And the next thing is that kind of light that is, you cannot compare with anything, filled everywhere. And I turned around, I saw 2 beings. They were tall, huge. No man on earth has that height. And they were wearing a sparkling white. They had a golden hair. And they had wings. They were just flipping their feathers as if they want to fly. And I said, these could be angels, but I wasn't so sure. I needed to ask them to know who they were. So I asked them, who are you people? They just smiled at me and separated into 2. Nobody answered me. One to my right hand side, the other to my left hand side. I kept asking, but there was no response. But suddenly, a light that is more than their own, 100 times that, even the sun is low current compared to that light. It was everywhere that the person we've not seen, but just the light. I saw these 2 beings fell to their knees, used their wings to cover their face, bow down to the ground. So I joined them, knelt down, bent down to the ground. The more the light kept coming, the more it seems like I was getting lighter, like things were leaving me that I can't just explain. And I started begging the direction of the light without knowing who he was. I said, please, whoever you are, turn down your light. It's affecting my eyes. I'm a human being like you. And the person did not say a word.
You told the person that you're a human being like him.
Yes, sir.
That you should turn down the lights.
Yes, sir. I never knew that it was Jesus coming in his glory and supremacy. I kept begging. There was no response. At a point, I felt the presence of a being around. He just said, Victor, rise. I said, please, turn down your light. I can't. It's affecting my eyes. I'm a human being like you. Help me. He did not say a word. He just waited. But suddenly there was this courage to look up, which I know he gave me that courage to really look up and know who he was. When I looked, the garment he was wearing covered his foot that I did not see his foot. But it was full of glory that I don't have the words to describe. I looked till I arrived at his waist. He was wearing a golden belt. More than anything you can measure with, spreading 2 of his palms. But on that palm there was a big hole. Blood was still gushing out of that hand. And when that blood was dropping, I got terrified. Who could this person be? I removed my face. I kept on looking. When I arrived at the chest, I couldn't go further because the kind of light coming from his face is like fire and it's like light at the same time. That you cannot create out a picture of his face at that moment. But I saw something engraved on his chest with a golden king, King of Kings. Something dropped in me. this could be Jesus. But I wasn't so sure. So I wanted to ask him to know who he was. But before I could open my mouth, he started introducing himself to me. He said, I am he that was dead, but I live forever. And each sound he made, they were trembling. That even the angels were still kneeling down, bowing to the earth. They were not looking at him, talking to me. And I continued. He said, from age to age, I remain the same. I am the King of kings and the Lord of lords. I am the creator of the whole universe. And he said, behold, I have the keys of heaven and hell. I have overcome death. I have overcome grave. I have overcome the world. He raised up his two hands and said, I am Jesus. Brethren, I never knew that the man we talk about was standing before me. I started shivering at that point. I did not know what to say. But I remember that something brought me here. And I asked him, am I truly dead? And he said, not really, but for just 25 seconds. That 25 seconds turned to be 3 days on earth. He turned around and looked at the angels. He said, take him the 25 seconds journey. I will be with you people soon. We did not see him again. And the angels turned around and said, Victor, we are mandated to take you on a 25-second journey. Come with us. I followed them. We climbed on a flat lift. The thing I don't know what to call it. Looks like crystal, like glass. And he started lifting us up. That we got to a very high mountain.
See, they are traveling their spacecraft in that other world. They are flying horses. There are all kinds of things, you know. Yes, go ahead.
We got to a very high mountain. I don't know which mountain is it. They did not give me the name. They asked me to come down. I came down. And they said, Victor, on this mountain, you can see the whole world. Look down. Tell us what you see. And get the message. I looked down the first time. Billions of people were just going to their normal businesses and activities. Nothing. So I turned around and told them, this is what I saw. They said, look deep. And tell us what you see. I looked the second time. It was still the same thing. They said, though these people look like swines that have no control, look deep down. There are few that have control. When I looked down the third time, I saw that a little handful of these billions, anything they do, they look up to the sky. Somebody would drive and look up to the sky. When I turn around and tell them, this is what I saw the third time, they say, yes, that they feel that I saw that the little thing they do, they look up to the sky, are like the 5 wise virgins. They are the people with the consciousness of heaven. They are the people that are waiting for the coming of Jesus. But that the other ones that are busy going to the abnormal world activity are like the 5 foolish virgins. That are the people that are working with the word the world are using. Man die go, woman born another. But they never sit down to ask themselves, the man that died and go, where did he go to? And the woman will give birth to another. Where would that one end up? And when they said that, they showed me another thing. All this kind of atrocity, war against nation, family, and all that. And immediately I turned around and said, why is heaven so heartless to let this thing to be happening to humanity? They said, no. It's the
crisis going on earth. Wars, famines, what you call end time event, earthquakes. Because we took the message from him. He's giving us a brief, and I want it to be so that we can get to the point. Somebody else, there's a second witness here. Anyway, the point is, he saw the katakata on earth. So he shouted, why will God be there and allow all these things to be happening on earth? Yes.
And they said, no, that heaven is not heartless, that heaven loves humanity, but that what I'm seeing is the fulfillment of the prophecy of the end time. They said, haven't you read what the scripture says, that at the end time people will become lovers of themselves? And all these things have been written down. And they said, if everything that was written down doesn't take place, take note, rapture will not take place. And immediately they said that. They showed me so many other things, but they took me away. We started descending into a tunnel. That tunnel is very big, very wide, very dark. The odor of the tunnel was oozing that I was so uncomfortable. It was as if I'm being put into fire. The heat I was feeling. And I started begging them. I said, please, take me back to where we came from. I don't want to come here with you people. They said, no, Victor, you need to follow us here for you to know where we are taking you to, how it looks like, what it feels like, and what brought people here. I said, please, let's take another way. They did not speak again to me. And they talk only when they are permitted. They don't talk when they are not permitted. They don't engage into discussion with me. Suddenly, we got to where my 2 legs were stable on the ground. And the same light we saw filled everywhere. We saw it again. When we turned, it was Jesus. We bowed down and worshipped him. And he came close to me and said, Victor, I'm going to show you my divine revelation of hell. I'm going to bring up people to tell you why they are here. I'm going to show you what it looks like, what it feels like, and what brought people here. I'm going to show you where demons are having meetings and the covenant that a lot of people from the world are having with the kingdom of darkness. And suddenly I could only see where I was standing to be the beginning. I couldn't see the end of it. It was so wide, like an endless water. And I became scared because I felt like I might be thrown in there. And suddenly they brought up the first person. And I asked him, why are you here? And Jesus said,
So I hope you are getting the gist. This fire is liquid fire. It's not like bush fire. Anyway, go ahead.
the fire burns like it's just like a volcano. And every moment of your life there is heating up more and more, more and more. It doesn't reduce. And suddenly when they brought up the first person, maggot was entering his nose, entering the mouth, coming out of the nose. He became restless. Anything called hole in his body. They were worms and maggot. And it was so terrifying that I couldn't look. And Jesus said, look at him. And I looked. He said, look at him very well, so that you will know what people suffer here. And I looked, even when I was shivering. And I asked, why are you here? And Jesus said, selfishness with the gospel. And I said, I don't understand. Which one is selfishness with the gospel? He said, I gave him the message to preach freely. But he started selling out the message to the people. That anytime he is invited for a program, he will be bargaining price with the people that invited him. If those people cannot give him that money, he will not go for that program. And the souls that would have been won to the kingdom will end up perishing.
So this is a preacher. Continue.
And not just that, that also he used fake prophecy to extort money from people. Hell wrote that one in. They brought up another person. And I asked, why are you here? And Jesus said, look at him. Do you know him? I said, no. He said, look at him closely. Do you know him? I still said, no. He said, look at him the third time. I still said, no. He mentioned the name of the man. And I shouted. I said, if this one could be in hell, what am I doing in ministry? And Jesus said, my grace is sufficient to as many that need it. And I asked, why is he here in hell? And Jesus said, he took my glory to himself. And I said, I don't understand. He said, I gave him the power to heal the sick, to raise the dead, to perform different kind of miracle. He failed to return the glory back to me. He started seeing himself like the one doing those things. And because of that, he was brought here. And when I was saying that, and Jesus said, it's not just that pride came into him and he changed the gospel. He said, Victor, I am no respecter of any man. If my Father cannot compromise the standard of heaven with I the Son, neither will I the Son compromise the standard of heaven with any man. But tell man I love man with an everlasting love. I did not make hell for man. I made it for the fallen angels. Why has man decided to go to hell? Where we will spend our eternity is in our hands and our decision. Suddenly,
yes, go ahead.
Suddenly, hell rolled that man in. They brought up another lady. And I asked, why is she here in hell? And Jesus said, materialism. But that one, we know what material things is. But the next one was the one that shocked me. He said she is a robber of souls. And I said, I don't understand. How can somebody be a robber of souls? He said, I gave her this beauty as a means of soul winning, for her to use her beauty to be winning souls to the kingdom. But instead, she's using her beauty to be robbing souls from my kingdom by seducing people, changing her walking step, and making people to lust after her. And Jesus gave the number of souls that she had. And that is why she was being brought to hell. They brought up another person. Hell rolled that one in. They brought up another person. Some of them, they gave me the years they've stayed. But I don't want to go into that one. And I asked, why is she here in hell? And Jesus said, unforgiveness. And I just said in my mind, I said, oh, I know already that one. And Jesus looked at me and said, it's not just about you not forgiving. That anytime we don't forgive, mercy is withheld from that person. That you are to forgive so that your Father who is in heaven can also forgive you and show you mercy. But when you don't forgive, mercy will not be shown to you. Hell rolled that one in. And I talk about one last person before I talk on another section. They brought up another person and I asked, why is she here in hell? He said, abortion. We know what abortion is, but it did not stop at just you committing the abortion. Anytime you commit an abortion, you shorten your lifespan on earth. That was what Jesus told me with his own mouth. And he did not just stop there. He said, anybody, whether the doctor, whether the person that advises it, or whoever it is, you are part of that course. But anywhere you share this message, as many that will repent and confess, I will restore the years that have been taken away back to them. Warn them not to go back to it anymore.
I remember when he came back, when he was talking about these parts, and it included the person who impregnated a girl, who gave her money to go and remove it. It's not just the girl. It included the doctors who are doing it because his mother Anyway, yes, let's go to another section. Yeah.
They took me to another section of hell. It was demons that were having meetings, sitting there. But the thing that shocked me is that people keep appearing there, coming there for meeting. Even pastors were coming to attend that meeting too. And I was being scared. And Jesus said, I shouldn't worry, I should come and stand, that nothing will happen to me. And I came and stood. And he opened my ears to hear what they were discussing there. How they will make the churches to become prayerless. How they will make churches to become a place where there is no fire. How they will make pastors to start preaching lies and false gospel. How they will make pastors to become false prophets. And how they will make the people to be giving glory to man, not to God anymore. And because of that, that is why, and some of them had the seal of Satan. They took me away from that section to another section where they were producing different kind of things. And I asked, if all these things are being produced here, we use them in the world. So how do we survive when we are using these things? They said by applying the blood of Jesus. That anytime you get anything, let the blood be presented.
There are a lot of inventions that are from hell. There are a lot of them, a lot of them. We don't even want to go into that, you know. A lot of them. Fashion, all kinds of nonsense. But let's leave that. Let's now go to heaven's section. Yes.
So suddenly we left hell, we appeared at a realm. People keep appearing in their thousands, in their hundreds, and in their millions. And I asked them, what kind of line is this? They said the line of being born again that leads you to the first judgment table. They took me to the front of that line. There was a very big book. An angel was there, busy opening, looking into it. When you appear, they will check if your name is there. I asked, what kind of book is that? They said the book of being born again. That being born again is not a guarantee that you will enter heaven, but it qualifies you that you are heaven candidate. So we passed there, we entered the right side, because there are two ways there after that place. When we entered the right side of that place, it was the streets of gold. The Bible said we shall walk on the street of gold. I forgot who were taking me around. I started telling myself, if they give me the option to choose between to stay back or to go, I won't waste time than to say I'm staying. When we got to the first gate, a very mighty golden gate, there were a huge angel standing there. They opened and told me, welcome, Brother Victor. I entered. Immediately I stepped in my foot. There was a big table. A book was there. An angel was there. But that angel was the busiest so far that I saw. It's not like I saw all the angels in heaven. He was busy cleaning and writing, cleaning and writing, cleaning and writing. And I walked up to him. He said, welcome, Brother Victor. I told him, thank you. What are you doing? He did not respond to me. I asked and asked. He did not say a word. I turned around and said to the angel that were taking me around, why is he behaving like this? Why is he snubbing me? They said, he is only permitted to welcome you here. He is not permitted to engage into any discussion with you. And I asked them, what kind of book is that? They said, the book of life. I asked them, why is he busy cleaning and writing? They said, anytime anybody accepts Jesus as his Lord and personal Savior, your name has been written in that book. But if you commit sin, your name is cleaned out immediately. And another person that is either doing restitution or reconciling with God, his name is replaced on your own place. That the first will become the last. The last will become the first. They took me away from there. We were approaching the second gate. There was a young man, younger than I'm looking. He was busy dancing, being happy. And I was just looking at him. They said, that is Brother David. And I started thinking in my church, who could be the Brother David that I know? They said, the man you people call King David in the Bible is no longer king here. Here we have only one king, and that is the King of Kings.
Can you talk about where you met Mary? Yes?
Okay. So after the very book, as we were approaching the third gate, I saw a lady. She was just strolling around. And I was looking at her. They said, that is Sister Mary. I said, Mary, the mother of Jesus Christ. They said, she is not the mother of Jesus Christ. She was just a vessel used to fulfill the prophecy at that time. And I asked them, okay, what about those people that pray and ask her to pray for them? They answered me that question with a question. They said, look at her over there. And I looked. They said, as you are seeing her over there, is she praying? Mary is not praying in heaven. The Bible already made us to understand we have only one mediator, which is Jesus.
Okay, the throne room. Talk about the guy that died in your church a year before your accident.
It was a week
and the
before.
pastor told me that was why the women refused to accept it. An evangelist. Was he an evangelist or a pastor?
It was one of the pastors.
One of the pastors had died the year before in a motor accident. And he met him there. Talk about that part before.
Actually, it was a week before. A Friday before the Friday that I had my own accident. So the trauma was still in the church. And I was one of the people that went to the mortuary to see the guy. Me and I was the one showing my pastor way because it was in Calabar we drove down to. I never knew that coming back a week from that day, it will happen to be my turn. That is why the church refused. And he was my close friend. Very close. So suddenly when I got there, I saw him there. He came and greeted me. And when I turned, I was so shocked. So I stepped back. He said, why am I scared? Because I remembered that he died. So as we were entering the third gate, they asked me to wait. It is an hour of worship. Which they showed me the throne room of Jesus. Brethren, there is no glory in this world. And at that point, when I was waiting, I saw all the angels. Everything you were doing stops. It is that hour of that time. And all of them started worshiping. And I saw where Jesus was sat on a high and exalted throne. Far above, I saw the 24 elders, the 4 living creatures, different set of people, they were there. I just followed them and knelt down. All of them removed their crowns, put it on the ground, they bent. None of them was kneeling straight to look at the throne. And the only people that were flying around were the cherubs, but they used their flaming wings to cover their faces, flying around the throne room. And immediately that was done, there was a song they were singing, channeling the worship to Jesus. But the shocking thing to me is that after that, Jesus now came down from that throne. When he came down, he said, it is an hour to worship my Father. And it did not just stop in him announcing it. He also knelt down. He was at the first row of the whole people kneeling down, remove his crown, put it down, and bow down to worship his Father.
End Time Truth TV, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.